if you click on that. Now it's recording.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Sridhar. I'm glad to have my technology partner as part of this call. Welcome, everybody. I see some people are joining us. We are going to let everybody have a few seconds to join, and then we will get the program started. I hope everybody is enjoying this beautiful day. So, Zoom calls are so much fun when you're sitting here and you know that people are looking at you and you're like, okay, how do you feel this awkward silence?
Oh, I wonder who's out there.
So, we do have several people that have joined.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Sridhar Sankara, Leigh Mansberg, and I'm Pearson Crutcher here with you today. Maybe we need to do some promo music and stuff and make it all real official, you know, so that would be fun.
Like the game show like they have at the start of the movies. You know, when you get to watch all of the questions, we should start like having entrepreneurial quizzes on different entrepreneurial games to play when you log in.
That is a great idea.
Right.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, you could probably do that through the poll feature.
That's a question that I'll have Sridhar help me with. Again, that's why we have Sridhar.
That could be really fun.
It would. I did Memphis trivia. Yes, I was actually. I was on the City Current call not long ago, and Jeremy did some really good Christmas trivia. It was a lot of fun. So very cool. All right. Well, it is about my watch says it. Well, it just says it's just straight up 12, but we do have several participants. So I think that maybe we should at least go ahead and get all of the fun beginning things started. So before we introduce you, Leigh, for our program. So I am really excited about today's program. Welcome. So glad that you are all here with us today. We are going to interview Leigh Mansberg today with Junior Achievement, talking about my favorite topic. We do a podcast, and one of the questions we always ask is, can you teach? Are entrepreneurs born or taught? So we will delve into that in just a few minutes. But to get our program started, we are featuring one of our member businesses at all of our calls now. So Sridhar Sankara with Think eBiz is with us today, eBiz Solutions. Sridhar does our website and is the technology guru. So I'm going to give Sridhar a few minutes to tell us about eBiz Solutions. Welcome, Sridhar.
Thank you, Pearson, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, Leigh. So because entrepreneurship is a big thing for me. Just about eBiz Solutions, we've been in business for the last 15 years. So this is our 15th year. So we would never forget our 15 years because of 2020, right? So what at eBiz, what we do is we help companies guide them to process of digital transformation, companies trying to take advantage of technology. Right, in today's day and age, you have seen with pandemic, the companies that really survived and really went through and be successful, the companies that are ready with digital transformation, companies that are good with technology. Like our company, we went overnight, 100 employees to work from home overnight, so we didn't miss a beat because we have all the technologies in place. So that's what we generally help. That could be from anywhere from setting up platforms, like for example, Teams, Microsoft Teams or Microsoft platform, or bringing in sales processes or business processes into automation, making them more automated. So you have less human intervention, and it also helps you to work from anywhere, any place on any device. So that's our main thing. So we do mostly helping companies, understanding, consulting with them to see where they are today and how we can take them to the next level in technology. So that's about it. Thank you so much, Pearson, for giving me this opportunity.
And Street Art is sponsoring today a gift certificate. We will have a door prize that I will announce at the end of the program. It's from Buckley's. For those of you in Memphis, we like to support local business. And Buckley's is doing a take and wave that you can go and pick up so that you can stay safe and go pick up your dinner from their lunchbox location. So I've got a gift certificate. Thank you, Street Art, for sponsoring that. And we will be handing that out at the end of the program. So stay with us. Leigh, I'm so excited to get this program started. I have had the luxury and the privilege of watching Leigh Mansberg work for a long time. Leigh was with St. Mary's before she went to Epicenter, and then now at Junior Achievement. And the Junior Achievement is the only organization that the Society of Entrepreneurs has a formal partnership with. We give our Master Entrepreneur Award together every year. We've done that for many years and have really enjoyed getting to work with Leigh through that process. I'm also a new board member for Junior Achievement, which makes me very happy, and I'm very excited about that. And Leigh, I'm going to turn this over to you. If you would start from your background, because I think that you as the executive director, the CEO at Junior Achievement, because of your education background, if you could talk a little bit about that as we start, that'd be great. Welcome.
Thank you. And it's so good to be here. And I think what's most important really about my background is that I have what I would call a child-centered background. So began my whole life, really 26 of my years of my career have been spent in education and solving problems by looking at them through the eyes of the child. And so if we put the child in front of our decision making as an educator, then schools and school systems and the organizations that support children can make better decisions. Very much, in the way that an entrepreneur thinks, that you solve a problem. And you solve a problem through the eyes of the people that you want to help and the demographics you want to serve. So I've spent my entire educational career in Memphis, a deeply rabid, crazy University of Memphis fan. Did all of my education there and all of my degrees have been there, and have done all of my teaching in Memphis, from starting with legacy Memphis City schools at Overton High School and White Station High School, and then transitioned with my two girls over to St. Mary's for my experience there, where I really became fascinated by the business of education. As much as I loved the literature that I taught, I really loved the business of education and how to make a school serve the needs of its constituents better. And I fell in love with business and decided to leave the formal education world to start educating our community on how to build businesses. And came to Junior Achievement after my time, a short period of time at Epicenter, where I was so fortunate to be educated on how to help specifically minorities and women build businesses, which was my real passion. And while I was there, it really became apparent to me that, okay, I could take this and bring this to the children of our community. And with a deep passion of what would happen if we started helping children learn how to become entrepreneurs far younger in life, because an economy is driven by its entrepreneurs, by the new ideas that emerge. And what would happen if children really understood that? What would happen if we could even look at it as instinctual? And so when the board of Junior Achievement hired me, I gave them a very bold challenge and said, hey, let's turn this place into a school and let's serve the schools, but let's pretend it's a baseball game. And our schools come up to bat first, and it's Junior Achievement's job to come up to bat second and come out swinging strong to make sure that everybody gets around the bases. Because we're not an equitable, we're not a just community until all of our children make it around the bases. And so that I have an incredible team at Junior Achievement that was bold and daring, and we said, let's just upend this. And so that's kind of a little bit about my journey and where I've been.
Well, that's great. And I know you've had to make a lot of changes this year. You were certainly baptized by fire, as they say. You come into Junior Achievement, and then we have a pandemic. So everything changes, the way we have to do business. So talk a little bit about that, if you would.
So we were already, COVID presented some very interesting challenges to junior achievement. We were already in the process of upending our program model. And the first challenge I gave to the staff was, what do we need to stop doing? Let's not do things that we're even pretty good at. Let's become really good at what we're exceptional at. So we had a strategic plan. The board was with us on this plan to say, let's upend the whole thing. Why not? So I think you're kind of feeling this kind of entrepreneurial spirit I have. I'm a child of 2 entrepreneurs, and it's kind of like seeped in the blood of our household to just say, why not? And when the virus came, one of the great gifts is that I had the privilege of helping to bring virtual education to the St. Mary's community 8 or 9 years ago when I was there. And so I have a deep understanding. I know how to implement virtual education. So I said to the team, let's build out an entire program of virtual programming for children kindergarten through 12th grade, but I don't want it to ever go away. So here's your challenge. Make something so good that when the pandemic's over, we will have both an in-person model in place and a virtual model in place that will be able to scale out. We actually serve 23 counties. So a lot of what we're creating right now is what sits at the root of it is, how do we take what we're doing now and put a scaling model on it? How do we take what we're doing now and leverage community partners? One of my favorite community partners is actually on the call with, and we'll talk about it later, but Lakeithia Glenn is here today, I know, from Light Memphis, and she is one of our key strategic partners, and we have many now, but she, over the next, and y'all will hear many great things coming, we'll hear some great partnerships that we're announcing on things that we're doing together, because we are stronger together when we leverage our community resources. So very excited that she's here today, but so we pivoted everything, but we pivoted it for the future. We didn't pivot it for the present. And so we didn't want things that were temporary. So we've created some really exciting new things that I'm just incredibly proud of, many of which actually launched this week. So we're very excited.
Can you tell a little bit more about some of those?
I would love to tell more about some of those.
I think that they're great. I've seen them, so everybody needs to know all about them.
So for the first time in Memphis Junior Achievement history, one of the things we're most excited about is a new program called JA Building Blocks, which is a collection of 40 video lessons for children K through 5 that feature our host, Dr. Teresa Jenkins, and she brings on a guest host, usually an entrepreneur, anywhere from the age of 10 to well up there in years. And the guest host comes in and brings entrepreneurship into this discussion of community and equitable community building and government. You'll see guest hosts like Paul Young from the city of Memphis, who shows how you can be an entrepreneur within the government. You will see guest hosts like Kenya Bean from Beach Hill Lemonade, who is 11 years old and runs a thriving lemonade company. We have soap makers, and we're representational. We made sure that we have entrepreneurs from every area of our city and our community. Children can't become what they can't see. So we are proud to have our Whitehaven communities represented, Frazier's represented. We've been incredibly intentional to introduce the children of the community to entrepreneurship and the context in which entrepreneurship makes a city a better place. So we're very excited about these videos, which will launch and will scale out to all of our students, kindergarten through 5th grade, over the next 3 months. And we will be sharing with the other 106 offices of Junior Achievement National. So we're very proud of that project. The other one is JA Launch Lessons. In the month of November, we introduced high school students, thousands of high school students, to 38 different entrepreneurs at all different stages. The president of the Society of Entrepreneurs, Duncan Williams, was one of our guests on Launch Lessons, along with every industry that's driving our city. So we worked with the chamber, We looked at the work of Memphis brand, and we said, what are the 6 drivers of our economy so we can really start educating our children on taking entrepreneurship and putting that within the context of the economies where there's growth and opportunity for them to find their futures. So those are our 2 big ones that we are thrilled and proud of right now.
Duncan just posted that it was a lot of fun in the chat. So I do want to make note that there is the chat feature on this. So as the discussion continues, please feel free to put things in that chat. So Leigh, the programs are great. And I have to say that I would think that the Shelby County School programs are very excited to not only have great programming, but really you're working as a partner with those teachers to give them great curriculum, which I know that they're all looking for right now in this time of virtual learning. So thank you. Thank you for thinking out of the box and what you're doing for our children. If I haven't said that before many times, I'm saying it again. So,
well, I'm really privileged to get to do it with a remarkable team of innovators. The staff at Junior Achievement, if you set them free to imagine and dream things, they are a powerhouse of team members. So I'm very, very fortunate to be surrounded with their talent.
Well, when we were talking about doing this presentation, we were talking a lot about can entrepreneurs be taught and what kind of things we could be doing with our children, even in our homes, kind of encouraging that entrepreneurial spirit. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I would love to talk about that because I'm a little obsessed with the Society's podcast. I've listened to every episode. And the reason I'm a former English teacher, so I love storytelling. And the more stories I hear and learn of entrepreneurs, the more I can really figure out the different tools they need. What does it mean to have access to mentors? What does it mean? You know, in almost every podcast, we hear about the power of a mentor to take that entrepreneur to wherever he or she is going. So how do we make sure at Junior Achievement that we do that? But we also just hear stories of those nuggets, those moments. And so my favorite point in every single episode is when you say, so can entrepreneurship be taught? And the jury's out amongst the people you've interviewed. They're about 50-50 on it. And so I would argue that we really believe at Junior Achievement that entrepreneurship can be taught. The older a child gets, the harder it's going to get to teach that entrepreneur to a child to be an entrepreneur. And so last year we did an amazing art project with the Carpenter Art Garden for our holiday presents. And I went and taught a session to the children who made our gifts for us and taught them about what is entrepreneurship. And I said, y'all making these gifts for us was entrepreneurship. What's the #1 thing that gets in the way of an entrepreneur? And the kids said, too much homework, not enough time to play. So I said, okay, fair enough. You know, as a teacher, homework is important, but play is actually important. So I would argue that children learn entrepreneurship at a very young age, starting on our playground. And I would really like to challenge all of you out here, drive around Memphis and look at the playgrounds and then think about the playgrounds of your youth. So playgrounds and I'm going to just like have people go crazy when I say this, and sports are sometimes not helpful in some way. And the way I mean that is sports give kids all the rules. So there's no place for invention. When we were growing up, and most of us were growing up, playing sports wasn't an opportunity until we were much older, until we were 13, 14, 12 years old. Sports has rules. Every single thing a child is supposed to think is kind of taught to them. Playgrounds are getting more and more scripted by the moment, which means there's not enough space. So most of us grow to think and imagine. So children need to play more, and they need to be playing without guidelines. And quite honestly, playgrounds are war zones, right? They're war zones of invention and leadership and who gets to take the role of leadership. So we need to be putting our children out on the playground and having them invent things. We need to be just giving children toys for the holidays that have no rules and no directions and tell them to figure it out. The other day in the office, there was a staff member there with a child in the office doing virtual learning. The staff member really needed some space to get work done. So I said to the child, gave her a huge piece of paper and said, invent a machine and draw out your plans. She did, and then I gave her a box of Lincoln Logs and all the different kinds of toys that have a million pieces, and then I told her, now build it. That's all I told her. And then you have to write out a plan for me to tell me what this machine is going to do. It took her 3 hours. She had a very elaborate plan. And so I would just tell you, help our children learn to play and give them this much more expansive world. Open up time for them to imagine and to dream. And that's what we're doing at Junior Achievement. And then get role models in front of them. Children can't become what they can't see. So for our children and our most underserved communities, we have got to get entrepreneurs in there to them at a young age. And that's why we love we brought a soap maker to the children, because it's a business and they need to just see the imagination. It is fun to make soap, and you can make it with things you have in your house. So that's what we're doing at Junior Achievement, is we are making sure that they are seeing at every corner what the opportunity is. And then we are teaching those who educate them, those who parent them, their after-school providers, how to help them play so they have space to say, I can solve that problem. Give them problems to solve. That's what we're doing. And so that's how we believe, but we believe it has to be very young. That by the time, if we wait to do this until they're in high school, we've waited entirely too late.
I think that's it's exciting and very creative.
Well, I'm a little passionate. Sorry, I get really, really passionate.
Well, I love that. And your passion shows, which is a very good thing. You got to tell me though, what was the machine?
What was the machine? She made a letter opener for me because she saw that my desk was just completely cluttered with too much stuff, and she made a letter opener for me. And she met a need that I had because the holidays are coming and Junior Achievement has another really fun surprise coming out in the mail, and she thought it might be helpful to her.
I love that. So that's great. That's a lot of fun. So tell me, how do businesses, I remember the model of Junior Achievement from days gone by, I guess, where, the business leader went and they had to go every single week to teach a class, basically. Tell me a little bit about what the model is and how businesses can help today's Junior Achievement.
Great. So we're really moving away from the one volunteer going to one classroom model. And we're using our volunteer program as a tool for businesses to build a company culture of philanthropy and engagement with the community. So when we return back to a world, right now our volunteers and our businesses, we need them on film. We need them telling their stories. But we need to keep our businesses healthy and safe. So we're not doing any in-person volunteering. But what we really need is businesses to say, it's okay to stop for an afternoon and go and do a project together. Because when Junior Achievement is back up in person, the world is open in person, we're going to need businesses to bring 10 or 15 employees at one time, and for them to say, it's okay for us to stop for an afternoon. And by the way, it's really good for your business culture. If you wanted your staff to talk about something other than just your work and grow together as a community, we're an amazing place for people to do something together and to teach the children at the same time. So we will have so many experiences for the children that are going to require businesses to stop for an afternoon or to stop for a morning and come and work together. And we're creating a dynamic program that'll have some follow-up, some education follow-up, so that over the water cooler, we're what you're talking about over the water cooler, about the good you did, about like, wow, we didn't even know that was going on, and that was fun. So that's our work. That's what we're really doing. That's what we hope that businesses can do. And then engage. We have so many new programs that are coming up that we'll be coming to y'all about. Say yes, like get out there and put your name out there so our children can learn about our economy. Most of our children don't understand how dynamic Memphis is in terms of the diversity of businesses. And we're here to teach about that. But we can't teach about your story if we don't know your story. And I'm a natural storyteller. So we work in partnership.
That's great. We do have one question that I want to go ahead and ask from Kevin Kimberly. It says, how do we get schools to do that, to allow for the play and the experimentation and curriculum in the day-to-day amidst the increasing expectations and demands? What a great question.
It is a great question from I know Kevin Kimberly, and he is a great educator. And it's the fair question. Our schools have tremendous demands on them. And one of the lucky things we have at Junior Achievement is that our curriculum actually aligns with Tennessee State Standards of Education. So that's how you really serve as a partner within that. One of the things that we can do, so for example, if you're teaching a math lesson, we could teach a lesson on supply chain, and then we could have the children build an obstacle course on the playground. So rather than putting up PowerPoints and slides, we could actually build a supply chain. We could create a mathematical game to see who could get the product from one end of the supply chain to the other fastest through design. And then with computers on the side, you could have somebody on a computer program trying to figure out, well, how do we do this in a technological world at the same time? So all of a sudden you have what we do best is play-based learning within the geography in which the child is located.
I love that. And you know, one thing that you and I've talked to you, and I know that this is the case, and I think you mentioned it, but this is something that your curriculums that you've added here in Memphis have become really for the national JA. They've been using your programs now, haven't they? They've been models. So.
We are starting to create some amazing models, particularly around diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've actually built one of the first, what I'm very excited about, an algorithm as to how people participate in our fees based on how schools, how many Title I children a school system serves. There were barriers to access to what we were doing, and we have completely removed all those barriers. I do see a question that came up about how many children do we serve? We usually on average can serve about, in our former program model, 10 to 15,000 children a year. I don't quite have that breakdown down in Shelby County alone, because we also, because of our 23 counties, we're in Mississippi and Arkansas as well. But the bulk of the children we serve are in Shelby County. We were tracking to have a record year this year in our service model. We were very excited, and COVID really put a whack on that one, but we are coming back very strong. For example, JA Building Blocks was exclusively created for Shelby County schools. We will scale it out to other school systems, and on average in Shelby County schools, you'll have about 8,000 children per grade level. So in our dream world, if that video series, it's pretty easy math. If the video series could reach every K5, that would be really amazing. If it only could reach half of them. But we have an audacious goal that by 2023, we'll be serving 30,000 children a year, and we've built a program model to do that. So we feel very good that we will be able to scale aggressively to reach more and more children, and to reach our children in rural communities that are really struggling with poverty in our rural communities, and we can bring these resources to them as well. Our state, our community gets better when we all get stronger and equipped with what we need.
That is so exciting. Tell me what the best way, like if you were an educator or you knew an educator that had an issue, you know, that wanted you to create a program like the model that you were discussing, how would they access that? How would they contact you? Or
Sure. So we have program directors. We have a deep relationship now with the CCTE department at Shelby County Schools and the Division of Student Services at Shelby County Schools, and they're deep and very trusted partners of ours, along with other school districts and private. But we're very excited to have just launched our toolkit, which I know you have, Pearson, which you are welcome to share out with this crowd. We have our first ever electronic, what we call a toolkit, which you please share with school systems that you have. So now a teacher just logs onto the toolkit, clicks a button that says request a program. All our programs are listed, And our program directors will be in touch with them right away. We're very proud. The toolkit launched Monday at 8:30 and went out to about 500 educators. We shared that link with all of our resources that we possibly could. Our job is to make this as easy as possible for a school to access us and our teachers to onboard us quickly.
Wonderful. Well, I can certainly share that you sent me yesterday.
Sure.
So I will definitely do that. I did get another question that I think is very interesting. And then she asked, could Memphis's critical involvement in the COVID vaccine distribution be used as a lesson in supply chain? So that's just an exciting idea.
You know, it is a very exciting idea. And I agree that it is an exciting idea, and we have actually had conversations about it. For 67% of the children we serve are children in our underserved communities in Memphis. And these are the communities that are being most traumatized by the virus. And so one of the things that we want to be very careful of is the hearts of our children. And so when our children are back in person with us, we need to work with our partners first before we use the vaccine and the virus as a case study to see about what you'll see that there are some remarkable organizations in Memphis that are attending to Bridges, Kindred Place have put mental health at the start of their service model. And there are very, very strong concerns in our community for our children about how their mental health is faring, particularly our most at-risk children. So we will be careful with that first. Our first hope is that when we see them, we want to be able to find something joyful for them, and we just don't know where our children will be when we're back with them. It's a great question, and trust me, it is one we've thought about, but we're not sure about the health of our children first, and so we will possibly bringing in some counselors to help us create some models. That's why we've already hired some consultants that are helping us here to make sure that we can plant the seeds of hope, and what those topics will be are still under discussion with that for us.
That's wonderful. That's great. The other question I have is just, where do you see junior achievement in 5 years?
Ooh, fun. Where do I see junior achievement in 5 years? We actually have a plan.
I imagine you do.
Just imagine. Where do we see junior achievement in 5 years? We see junior achievement with, I purposely put myself virtually at BizTown. We see ourselves in an even bigger BizTown. We see ourselves with a second town called Finance Park, which will teach children how to personally budget. We see our town being representational of the arts, of entrepreneurship in every single version. We see our town with Black-owned businesses, Latina-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and we see it representing Memphis's most, as you see behind me, Memphis's iconic businesses as well. Representation is extremely important for our children so that they can understand their pathway into our economy. And so, you know, that's once again why I'm glad that Lakeithia is here. She's my partner in helping build a pathway to getting our children into the entrepreneurship pipeline, which is fleshed out by other organizations like Code Crew, the University of Memphis, and Christian Brothers University in Lemoyne-Owen. And all of these programs are saying, let's make entrepreneurs. And, you know, on Seinfeld, they'll say it's not enough to get the reservation, you have to keep the reservation. So for us, we're working with our partners to make sure it is not enough to say, we built some great entrepreneurs, we need to keep them in Memphis to build our economy. So we are finding investment for our youth entrepreneurs so that they don't lose hope. Not every child has an investment vehicle where if they've come up with an idea for a business, that they have family members that can support it. Well, at Junior Achievement, we're going to come up with a solution for that. So in 5 years, we will be able to say how many youth entrepreneurs started a business in Memphis under the age of 18, incubated that business in Memphis, and that business is still up and open and employing Memphians, which is the point of an entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is, you know, what, going back to your original question, what can businesses do for junior achievement? Be a part of that pipeline with all of our partners to make sure that we do that. The odds of students who start and keep going, staying in Memphis, is extremely high.
I'm going to ask you a question I didn't send you, so see if I can get you.
Oh.
But you listen to all of our podcasts, which thank you
Yes.
for that. I appreciate that very much. But one of the questions we also ask is that Memphis is known as an entrepreneurial city. Why do you think that is?
I think that's a really great question. And I think that it is a question of resiliency. I think that to be an entrepreneur, and people will ask me, can you teach resiliency? We need to quit redlining. We need to quit red marking up our kids' papers. We need to quit giving a trophy for everything. We have to model how you're resilient. And this city is resilient. When people tend to tell the city that we can't, we always seem to write back and say, well, yes, we can. And that to me is, and so when people tell children they can't, if you want to make me angry, if you want to get into a fight with me, tell me that children can't, and I will get on my soapbox and not get off for quite a while, because I think they can. And I think that Memphis models that as a city for children. We've had many, many dark spots in our history, and still we rise. You know, as an English teacher, you know, teaching Maya Angelou was a great privilege of my life. And this idea that the citizens who come from many different areas of our community continue to fight back, continue to rise up, well, that models something for our children. So that's why I think, and the other thing that I love about this is that we're a yes town. If people will come here with an idea, I mean, I like visiting Nashville, but you come to Memphis and people say yes here. You can find someone to support your idea. You can network here. This is an easier city to network in. And people, we are such a generous city that when you ask someone for help, I've never been in a place where people will just say yes, but we have to remember that not all of our children have access to people who will say yes. So Junior Achievement's job is to make sure we get our children to the people that are ready to say yes. They just don't even know they're there. So that's what I love about the culture. When I decided to leave education, people were like, are you gonna leave Memphis? And I had great offers to leave Memphis because I do run schools. I know how to run a school. I can't leave this city. I love her. And I do call it a her because I'm the mother of daughters and it's how I roll. But I can't leave her because I believe in her. And I'm so excited to just be a part of this city and to see what we can become. And so, yes, that's why I think entrepreneurship, why Memphis is a great place to be an entrepreneur. It can also be a hard city. It's not easy. And so all of us just need to make it an easier path for everybody.
I love that answer. I just love your enthusiasm. Every time I'm around you, I'm just happy that, and I'm glad for one that you did decide to stay here. One question that you and I talked about and that we really didn't address, and we're running low on time, but so I'm going to ask you this as just for your answer, is what kind of toys, if there's a parent on here and it's Christmas and people are thinking about buying toys, and I think that, like we've discussed, there's so much scripted play out there, you know, what kind of toys do you think are the best to spark the imagination? Do you have any recommendations?
Tons of recommendations. Tinker Toys, love them. Construction projects, they're online everywhere. I would love, what a great project. Go build something literally build something with your children. Don't be afraid of power tools. Learn how to use them safely. So go to Home Depot and go to Home Depot and locally owned hardware stores and build something. Make messes. Order kitchen supplies. Teach your children to cook and let them explode in your kitchen. It would be the greatest thing ever. Teach them, you know, clay. You asked about clay. Art supplies. So many art supplies, and don't say what it needs to be. Make messes. make lots of messes, because most of the entrepreneurs who are part of this have made a mess of their lives many times, because entrepreneurship is super messy, and it's okay because they're still standing, and your kitchen will clean up. Please don't use power saws. I can't put fingers back on. But don't make your children, and don't make your girls afraid of tools. So many people have taught us women to be afraid of using tools, and our girls should be in the construction business. They should be building stuff. And I would love, there's so much space for women in construction. Start it now. So anything that doesn't have directions, anything that doesn't have, and if you have broken machinery around your house, hand them a screwdriver and let them take it apart. Let them look at the inner workings and challenge them to build something new with it.
I love that. That sounds great. That is very good. So is there anything that you want to add before we wrap up that maybe we didn't cover in any of the questions? I think we've answered all the questions.
Listen, just help us build passionate, persistent, and fearless kids. And I think we're going to see a lot more entrepreneurs rising up. And be patient. It takes time. Thanks for having me, Pearson. It's been a pleasure.
This is so fun. And I am so thrilled for all that you've already created. How long have you been at Junior Achievement?
14 months. 14, 15 months, right there.
Well, you are certainly not letting any time. You're amazing in that amount of time, which you've already created. So that's great.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you also for being here again today. And thank you, Sridhar. I think that he got off the video. There he is again. So Sridhar, thank you for your words. Lisa Marie David has won the gift certificate to Buckley's, and I will send that in the mail. Lisa, if you're still on here, please, I think I have the right address, but if you would send it to me, since you might not be working where you normally do these days. So send me that and I will get that to you. And thank you very much. Sridhar, do you have anything that you want to add or anything before we wrap up?
No, I'm glad, Leah, we had you here. Great answers and great story.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Same here.
Thanks again, Leigh. Our next
sponsors.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I have my trusty assistant next to me that said I didn't thank my sponsors, and I didn't thank my sponsors. So I do need to say thank you, obviously, to you, Sridhar, and thank you again to Paragon Bank for being our longstanding sponsor and making sure these roundtable meetings happen. So thank you very much. That's great. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope that you have a happy and healthy and safe. Wear your mask. Stay safe. And our January meeting, January the 12th, I think, the 14th, we're going to have Craig Brewer, who is the writer-director and just finishing up work on Coming to America. So it should be a really exciting meeting. So thank you. And thanks again, Leigh. I will send out the toolkit to everybody on the call.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.